Community and connection. Connection is what everyone wants. There are people who not able to be with other people, not able to connect with other people, and manage to make a connection with God and themselves to sustain themselves. That is possible, but most people would want to make connection with others. A connection that they crave for. They want to be heard. They want to be listened to. They want to be understood. They want to be happy. They want to be contented. They crave for attention. They crave for a sense of well-being, a sense of comfort and security, safe. They also have sensorial abilities, vision, hearing, smell, taste, and touch, and other senses. That's a way for them to connect as well if they can't connect with another human being. Social media and other forms of connection, maybe nature, commune with nature, commune with other people temporarily. And there could be triggers that also trigger the so-called boundaries to protect themselves, to feel secure. And those triggers could be in the form of sensorial experience as well. Vision, hearing, smell, touch, and taste. Like a very bad smell, it could trigger, or it could make them feel bad and feel lousy and whatever, sensorial experience. Going back to connection, wanting to be heard is a way of creative expression, help one feel safe and secure with oneself. You can do it with others, but you can do it by your own, and you can feel that you're providing that safe environment, the space, like in terms of composing music. There are examples of musicians who said that because they felt lonely, that they create music, or they were frustrated, they create music. And artists as well, that did good work of arts, great works of arts that came from, they were emotionally disturbed or they were angry. And those are self-expressions that were creative. We call them creative expression. And you could do that every day, safely and soundly, on your own. Painting, fine art, other fine arts, sketching, drawing, communing with yourself, communing with nature, and communing with others, singing, dancing, cooking, anything that has a composition and a structure to it, and something that comes from yourself. Writing, and so on. So, creative expressions are necessary for someone to find that spot, a safe spot, And I was thinking the link between creativity and architecture design, and that there's something missing when you don't do manual drawings, because manual drawings have its own structure and composition, where doing digital application, it's more like a production, more like, okay, there's some sort of composition, isn't it? It's just that it's true. Or cat, but if you understand what I'm trying to say, in which there's some sort of a free form, free sketching before you do a drawing thing, that's the part that's missing. And you can interject that creative expression into your everyday drafting. Detail design can come even in the beginning when you sketch, so that when it comes to producing it and measuring it to the manufacturer or suppliers later on, it will be more of a drafting exercise rather than a creative expression. Yeah, I was trying to see the connection between creative expression and architecture design. And going back to connection and community, there are a lot of points here. Keep on talking about meaningful, purposeful communication. Commune or community come from the word communication, it seems. Meaningful communication would be more comforting or more safe than a non-meaningful communication. Meaningful communication has good intent by both parties to solve or to discuss about something. If there is the wrong intent in one of the parties, it will result in non-meaningful communication, which will lead to unsecure, uncomfortable situation. So we get to be on the same page. You got to be on the same page with the right intent. Managing other people has to do with a lot of things, right? What do you call it? Body language. So if our intention is just to go and go through the motions. Okay, somebody said, let's work on this. Okay, let's talk about it. And then we just feel that we need to go through the motions. We not really have the right intent, because our intention is just to get it done over quickly. So there is a body language that says, I can't be bothered with it, or I'm just here because I have to do it. So the other person pick up this cue and feel uncomfortable and feel that the other person is falsifying their intent or something is not right. So this happens, and it happens to the best of us, meaning that it happened to me and I would be concerned later that things didn't happen right, but it was also my fault in a way that I wasn't having the right intent. Meaningful connections or the connection that is based on trust. I like to talk about trust now, honesty. If you don't really like someone, just say you know that person has done you wrong, or there were things that was wrongly done earlier by that person. You have this prejudice of this person. That person could have the right intent for this particular thing at the present moment, but because you were prejudiced, or you had this biasness about that person, you could go into this thing without the right intent. So you can't really tell the other person that you feel comfortable. You feel that you don't want to make that person feel angry, because that would be misconstrued, or whatever you say will be misconstrued as if you hate that person or something. So you didn't tell that, and it's just through body language, or through this interaction not come out right. So that's the thing, that we are afraid to tell the other person, I don't really feel comfortable because you didn't complete this project early, another project before, and you're going to do this project with me. I mean, we have to be like, clear about our uncomfortableness. So that's the problem with miscommunication that happens in a workplace setting, where you didn't intend to create this uncomfortableness, but you did, because you didn't do the thing that you're supposed to do earlier. There is what you call the right way to do things. And the culture, or the office culture, is usually the leadership. I mean, Simon Sinek talks about this leadership in office culture a lot. I'm sure he does consultation for companies. And the leadership in a group, we're talking about a huge company. In a group, if there is no leadership in terms of making things clear, communicating with each other, then people don't usually do that, because there is no leadership. Companies and entities, which is like a huge organization that needs to be managed, even in little departments, you have individuals working with each other, but not really working with each other. So you get little production going on, or office politics, or office, not necessarily politics, but office environment, a psychosocial office environment that is not entirely conducive for working, right? So whose fault is that? There's some consultants, they work in that area to do with leadership in this sort of environment. So after that, we have other things to think about in terms of the individuals privately, in terms of the individual in a working environment, in terms of the individual in a non-working environment, meaning with friends or with families and spouse. With those specific non-working environments, they have specific things and situation, expectations. Going into something without any expectations is not easy to do because everybody has expectations. But if you're able to not have expectations going into something, then there'll be less of a strain, or there's that less of a competitive nature to that situation or relationship. When you make a connection, like you're trying to make a connection with someone, it could be long distance or it could be face to face. Sometimes face to face, the thing is, making connection with someone face to face, there's all these other things like the look of someone or the body language or whatever that they do or whatever that you do, what you wear, what you eat, and all these things distracting to build a relationship. There is possibly a connection, but in long distance relationship or even through social media, you can pause and wait and think about it and ruminate and reflect and all that about that connection, whether it can build to a relationship. So really, there is nothing to say that one is better than the other. There are pros and cons, obviously. You're going back to community and connection. In fact, when I talk about it today, it seems that community, communication, and connection, there are a lot of things tied in there. The connection has to happen to build a relationship and a community happen. Or a community is there for safety, for a secure way of believing in a common thing within members of the community. Simon Sinek says that in many of his videos. It's kind of interesting about what he talks about regarding community. And then I heard this TikToker. He was just passing through in TikTok talking about the opposite of addiction is not abstinence from addiction, or, it's not. He said that the opposite of addiction, which we deem to be doing substance abuse and all sorts of abuse of oneself or extreme actions, the opposite of it is community and communication. Connection. Community and connection. That's the opposite of addiction. So people crave community and connection. Giving a scenario, a hypothetical scenario of someone that feels very lonely and like maybe a situation in his life that he has separated from his spouse and he's on his own and he start drinking a lot or dealing with drugs and stuff like that, not knowing what went wrong and feeling sorry for himself. He craved for connection and community. So maybe he goes to a football game, or maybe he goes out to a pub and he feels that community and connection with other people in such places and situation. So that's just a random hypothetical explanation of the opposite of addiction is connection and community. So looking at from the point of view of community and connection, we need to know that why this is sought after, why this is something that people would like to have, and why people identify themselves with certain communities. Alcoholic Anonymous, for example, or any support group that assists with getting over or actually, you just telling about yourself and other people listening, some sort of counseling group. Going back to that definition of connection, and the sense of community is able to tell about oneself to another. So that is something that we would like to talk about in the future. Thank you for listening.